As my childhood sweetheart shoved my head into the toilet, lines of comments seemed to flash before my eyes. So melodramatic. The male lead, insecure about being poor, teams up with the female antagonist to torment the female lead. It's always like this in those wife-chasing crematorium stories. The male lead just apologizes, and the female lead forgives him instantly. It was then that I realized I was the female lead in a dog-blood drama about chasing one's wife. In this story, the male lead bullies me because he hasn't realized his true feelings. Later, to prove he didn't care about me, he would violently rip out my hearing aid. He thought I would forgive him, but I had no intention of following the old script any longer. When my childhood sweetheart once again threw my newly bought textbooks downstairs, I suddenly felt a profound weariness. For 3 years of high school, I had played a cat-and-mouse game with him. He'd throw my books, and I'd quietly pick them up. He'd tear up my homework, and I'd silently repair it. Like a puppet that never learned to be angry, emotionless, cooperating with his torment. And so, his audacity grew bolder and bolder. Just a few days prior, he had even ignored my pleading cries, locking me inside the bathroom. Because of a childhood trauma, I was terrified of darkness. He clearly knew that. Around me, people constantly cheered. That deaf-mute girl is about to burst into tears again. They were betting on how many minutes it would take for me to cry. Dean Chen, the ringleader, sneered. I bet Manny Lin will cry in the next second. The mist gathering in my eyes almost obscured the view before me, until lines of comments appeared before my eyes again. The male lead is utterly disgusting. What does the male lead's insecurity about being poor have to do with him leading the bullying of the female lead? If the female lead forgives him later, she'd truly be demeaning herself. The female lead will definitely forgive him. Isn't this just the typical wife-chasing plot? Each line of comment made my thoughts clearer, past memories flashing before my eyes like a fast-forwarded film. I felt numb and pained. It turned out I was just a part of this novel. I tried to pinch myself hard to keep from bursting into tears, and spoke calmly. Dean Chen, do you think this game is fun? Either pick up my books now, or buy me a new set. Dean Chen smirked, but his expression turned incredibly ugly. Manny Lin, what's wrong with you? He turned and walked away, slinging an arm around his grinning cronies. In the book, I was infatuated with Dean Chen, never daring to utter a word no matter how he bullied me. He would fall for a beautiful new transfer student, Kelly too, and torment me even more indiscriminately. The two of them would conspire to isolate me, their schemes following one after another. Finally, when utterly despairing, I'd arranged to transfer schools. After I left, my childhood sweetheart would begin to regret his actions, embarking on a painful journey of atonement and chasing after love. Most people shipped us, excitedly shouting, "Stubborn, tsundere childhood sweetheart X. Adorable, strong, tragic female lead. Ah, I'm dying from shipping them." Some also advised me, "Come on, Manny Lin. They say a reformed prodigal is worth more than gold. That favored son of heaven, who once was, has done so much for you. What more could you want?" As such, I suffered from severe emotional numbness, which everyone noticed. Only when Dean Chen appeared did I feel like a normal person. We were entangled for 7 years. Later, with reddened eyes, he'd look at me and say, "Manny, I truly did all that because I liked you." In the book, we had a conventionally perfect ending. But now, for me, that revelation only brought extreme fear. Read more great stories at Tree and You Lose. After that, I tried to stay away from Dean Chen, but the plot continued to unfold. During physics class, as usual, I raised my hand to answer a question. As soon as Mr. Wu told me to sit down, someone kicked my chair hard. My head slammed into the corner of the desk, and fresh blood dripped down. I knew this was a warning from my childhood sweetheart. Dean Chen frowned. "Manny Lin, don't you know I hate him the most?" Of course I knew. Last time Mr. Wu had caught him scaling the wall to skip class, and he'd held a grudge ever since. But what did that have to do with me? It only proved that he was petty and vindictive. I ignored him. Calmly, I took out a Band-Aid, tore open the wrapper, and applied it to my forehead. After school, I still had to go to Dean Chen's house to demand money for my medical bill. Too busy. Who had time to care about the preferences of a thug? For the first time, Dean Chen received no reaction from me. He was both annoyed and enraged, casually tossing a crumpled paper ball at my head. The soft paper ball fell, gently rolling onto the ground. I merely glanced at it, ignored it, and continued with my homework. While the teacher wasn't looking, he snatched the pen from my hand. The sharp nib grazed my white shirt, leaving a black streak. "Manny Lin, didn't you hear me talking to you just now?" After saying that, he seemed to realize something, and the smile on his lips deepened. "Oh, I forgot. You're deaf anyway. Never mind, I'm generous. I'll let you off this time. But if it happens again, I'll punish you." Lines of comments flickered before my eyes again, like falling snowflakes. Does the male lead think he's cool doing that? So disgusting. Boys will be boys. When they like a girl, they'll think of all sorts of ways to get her attention. This is puppy love. My husband used to bully me like that back then, and now we have 3 kids, with the 4th on the way. Haha, so fierce. Truly a darling wife giving birth to 8 children. Read more great stories at Truyan You Lose. I took a deep breath, bent down, and picked up the paper ball. Then I unexpectedly flung it hard at the person behind me. A neat, decisive motion. The smile on Dean Chen's lips immediately froze. This was the first time I had defied him. After class, Dean Chen waited until everyone had left, then cornered me alone. His cronies beside him were excited. "Brother Da, how are you going to bully that deaf-mute girl this time?" "Humph." Dean Chen leaned lazily against the doorframe, his tone nonchalant. "Grab her backpack." At his command, several male students immediately snatched my bag, despite the wound on my shoulder still aching from his doing a few days earlier. There wasn't much in my bag. A few books, a case for my hearing aid, and 2 packs of sanitary pads. Everything in my bag was overturned and spilled out. When they saw the white sanitary pads, the whole group's eyes widened. Immediately, raucous laughter erupted. I wondered why this classroom smelled so bad. Turns out that deaf-mute girl is on her period. Ugh, smells like rusty iron. How shameless. Bringing that stuff into class, aren't you afraid of dirtying everyone's study space? Look at her pants. Ugh, it's all leaked out. Oh, so dirty, it's messing up the seats. They pretended to pinch their noses, waving their hands vigorously as if shooing something away. Even though in reality there wasn't any smell at all. Even more brazenly, someone tore open the packaging. The sanitary pad was fully exposed to everyone's gaze. Someone else poured the rest of their cup of water onto it. Oh my, bro Dean, it really absorbs water fast. Tisk, tisk, truly impressive. No wonder that mute deaf girl likes using this stuff. Seeing that I showed no reaction, Dean Chen finally stepped in front of me. Manny Lin, next time you don't listen, it won't just stop at ransacking your bag. As they prepared to leave, I subtly parted my lips. Hold on. I have something I want to give you. The entire group burst into mocking laughter. Whoa, whoa, whoa! The mute deaf girl wants to give Bro Dean a gift. Dean Chen acted as if he had expected it all along. He lazily lifted his eyelids, flashing a sinister grin. Manny Lin, plenty of people are obsessed with me. You'll have to get in line. Read more great stories at Yulu's novels like him? I nearly gagged and vomited on the spot. The classroom was on the east side. Just a few steps to the left led to the restroom. I squeezed past Dean Chen, walked to a random toilet stall, and quickly grabbed a plastic bucket. The one I'd prefer to like is your mother. I dumped all the filthy contents of the trash can onto Dean Chen's head. He froze. The group of followers behind him was also dumbfounded. Under the pull of gravity, several clumps of brown paper, along with a cascade of used sanitary pads, slowly descended, obscuring half of his face. One timid person hesitantly spoke up. Bro Dean, you... The trash in the restroom was truly too filthy. No one dared to reach out and remove it. They could only watch helplessly as their Bro Dean tilted backward. Dean Chen was knocked unconscious on the spot by that pile of trash. But I found it puzzling. How was he any different from this stuff? I merely helped him with a little bit of sorting. My parents were called in. Facing the homeroom teacher's displeased expression, my parents were utterly calm and composed, as if nothing had happened. After waiting a long time and not seeing me apologize, the homeroom teacher finally spoke up, every word a reproach. "Manny Lynn, you went too far. They only looked through your bag a little, and you dumped a whole trash can on your classmate's head. You must stand in front of the class, apologize immediately, and accept your disciplinary action." Beside me, Dean Chen's eyes were red-rimmed, putting on a show of being deeply wronged. "Manny Lynn! You've gone too far! I was just joking around! Did you have to do that? Don't forget, when we were little, I saved your life!" In a flash, the comments from the future reappeared before my eyes. "The female lead is really tough. That's exactly how you should treat scum like him. But the male lead saved the female lead's life. Isn't the female lead being too calculative and ungrateful? That's right. I still prefer a gentler female lead." I tried to steady my heart, but whether it was what had just happened in real life or the comments before my eyes, everything made it hard for me to breathe. That's right. In the original novel, my life was indeed mercifully saved by him, but I had also spent 5 years living in silence to repay Dean Chen. Countless times I was bullied, and I silently bore it. Wasn't that enough? That so-called life-saving act. It was nothing more than when a small car was about to rush towards me, he hastily stuck out his foot, tripping me. Coincidentally, the car grazed my scalp as it sped past, and he had boasted about it countless times to those unaware of the full story. I had accidentally overheard the truth he never mentioned when Dean Chen was drunk. Manny Lynn was about to die then. If I hadn't benevolently supported her, how could she still be alive today? Haha, originally I intended to run, but that mute girl kept clinging to me. I panicked and kicked her down, unexpectedly saving her. Although her head hit something a little, at least she's still alive, right? But if, back then, he hadn't stuck out his foot, I would have been perfectly fine. I certainly wouldn't have suffered hearing damage, needing to wear hearing aids for the rest of my life. Now does he still have the gall to keep bringing that up? My parents were about to speak when I stopped them, shaking my head resolutely. No apology, I didn't do anything wrong. They were the ones verbally bullying me, saying I was dirty, saying I smelled, and even stealing my sanitary pads. If even I didn't dare to face it, then who would stand up and speak for me? The homeroom teacher didn't expect someone as quiet as me to dare to talk back. Her expression immediately changed. "You say they bullied you? Manny Lynn? Do you have any proof? Slandering others can land you in prison. Besides, student Dean Chen didn't bully you, did he? He just hadn't seen a sanitary pad before, so he took it out to look. There's nothing as serious as you're making it out to be." Read more great stories at Yulu's novels. It was a long tirade, as if to corner me with moralistic accusations. The homeroom teacher even called over a few other male students, asking them if they had seen me being bullied. Those few glanced at Dean Chen, then quickly unified their statements. "No, there wasn't." "Bro Dean?" "No, student Chen just borrowed student Lin's homework to look at." "That's right, he absolutely didn't bully her. Student Chen didn't do anything at all." After hearing this, Dean Chen's expression gradually improved. He thought, brotherhood truly reigned supreme. The homeroom teacher also nodded in satisfaction. "Manny Lin's parents, you see now." "Mr. Tan, there's no need to waste any more breath." My father unexpectedly spoke up, cutting off the homeroom teacher. "Regarding compensation, just follow what my daughter said. No apology, and I don't believe she's at fault either." My mother immediately chimed in. "There isn't even a single surveillance camera in this classroom, so who knows the actual situation? Isn't everything just based on your words? Student Chen, isn't that right? Looking at the wound on your forehead, it looks quite severe. Go get it checked quickly, or it might heal before you do." I nearly burst out laughing. In the end, my family paid Dean Chen's medical expenses. According to my father, money was a small matter. But I couldn't be allowed to be wronged. I nodded vigorously, feeling lucky that my parents always loved me unconditionally. It was just that, up until now, I had always kept my pain hidden, only telling them about the good things, so they couldn't possibly know everything that had truly happened to me. I would not let those preposterous scenarios from my dream repeat in real life. Not long after that incident, the beautiful transfer student from the novel, appeared. Kelly, too, had sleek black hair, luscious red lips, and teeth as white as jade. Her exquisite beauty shone brightly. She stood in stark contrast to the other students in the school, who often seemed dusty and unkempt. As soon as she transferred, Kelly was hailed by the male students as the class belle. "Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly, too. Please take good care of me from now on." The fashion-conscious girls eagerly swarmed around her. Only I stared at her, a chilling sensation rising within my heart. On the surface, Kelly, too, looked like a well-behaved girl, but in reality, she was untamed and dissolute. No matter how many boys actively pursued her, her eyes always followed Dean Chen's defiant and arrogant demeanor. Sensing that intense gaze, Dean Chen acted cool and subtly smirked. The two of them began exchanging meaningful glances. According to the events in the novel, Kelly, too, out of jealousy, would force me to drink dirty water, take photos of my naked body, and ambush me in an alley after school. In fact, many of the bullying tactics against me were actually instigated by Kelly for Dean Chen. During math class, Dean Chen jabbed my back with the tip of his pen, ordering, "Manny Lin, give this note to Kelly, too." The pain made me suck in a sharp, cold breath. Ever since I dumped a whole trash can on his head, Dean Chen had become even more brazen. That's because he was the victim. No one would scrutinize the faults of someone considered a victim, even if he was the one who initiated everything. Seeing that I still didn't move, irritation was clear on his face. He continued to press the sharp tip of his pen hard into my back, as if stabbing a sponge. "Hurry up! I called you deaf! Are you really going to be deaf?" The spot where he jabbed me began to redden and ache dully. I yielded to his push, gritting my teeth and pressing my body hard against the pen. Then, I deliberately trembled my shoulders and began to sob quietly. I'm sorry. I'll immediately pass the note to the class belle." Dean Chen's face went pale. "No, that's not it." Everyone in the class turned their heads at this, their eyes full of surprise. Everyone knew Dean Chen always bullied me, but they hadn't expected him to be so unrestrained even during class. The teacher frowned and asked, "Manny Lin, what's going on?" While answering, I subtly scratched a few more marks onto my own back, making the blood flow faster. Blood soaked my shirt, almost completely dyeing it red. Seeing this, the teacher immediately instructed the class monitor to take me to the infirmary. Although the injury wasn't severe, Dean Chen's actions had severely disrupted classroom order. He was given a warning and school detention, and even had to apologize to me in front of the entire class. That was precisely the evidence the homeroom teacher had always wanted. Now, wasn't there enough evidence? I used the chaos to escape the school, but Kelly, too, blocked me in a small alley. Beside her were several girls with strangely dyed hair, clearly not decent people at first glance. Kelly, too, raised her leg and kicked hard at the wall, her demeanor completely contrary to her gentle, obedient image at school. "Who gave you permission to report Dean Chen, huh? All I asked was for you to pass a note, and you put on that fake innocent act. It's disgusting." I knew she liked Dean Chen. It was the kind of instant attraction. So whoever Dean Chen hated, she hated too. Kelly, too, was certain that my feigned act was what got the person she liked punished by the teachers. She had brought these people along, intending to teach me a lesson. But I wasn't a punching bag for anyone to hit as they pleased. Ever since I knew my tragic fate beforehand, I had asked my parents to hire a private coach to teach me self-defense skills. After just a few moves, not only did Kelly, too, gain nothing, but she was also hit by my elbows several times in a row. She was furious, but couldn't do anything. You guys, can't you hold her arms and legs down?" Sorry about that. Me? I'm as nimble as a piglet. No one could lay a hand on me, not even graze my clothes. Dean Chen, hearing the commotion, rushed over just in time to see his heroine screaming frantically, "Kelly?" Hearing Dean Chen's voice, Kelly, too, suddenly twisted her ankle and stumbled into his arms. What perfect timing. If there had been even a little more distance, her head would probably have hit the ground. Dean Chen instinctively wanted to push her away, but his eyes suddenly met mine. He then put on a smile, letting Kelly, too, snuggle into his embrace and act spoiled. "Classmate Chen, look. I just wanted to get justice for you, but Manny Lin has no idea how to cherish a beautiful flower. Look, it hurts so much." Kelly, too, pointed to a faint red scratch on her face, which couldn't even be seen without a magnifying glass. Yet Dean Chen, that sappy guy, actually liked that sort of thing. His face was frigid, his voice heavy. "Manny Lin, apologize to Kelly, too. I haven't even settled the score with you from this afternoon, and now you're causing trouble again. You're truly a jinx. I shouldn't have saved you in the first place." I sighed. "Again? Aren't you tired of bringing that up every single time?" Kelly, too, who knew the full story, immediately bristled and cursed at me. "If it weren't for classmate Chen, you'd be dead by now, and you're still slandering him. Manny Lin, you're too much." Dean Chen's expression didn't change as he calmly uttered a sentence. "Forget it, just let it go. She's just an ungrateful wretch. Someone who lives like her deserves to be deaf her whole life." The two immediately turned to sweet nothings, showering each other with words of affection. I pointed toward the surveillance camera at the alley's entrance, sneering. "Are you two planning to wait for the police? Sorry, but I already called them just now. Save these nauseating excuses to tell them." Having said that, they both turned and fled, leaving without a trace of hesitation. At the beginning of the month, it was once again time to distribute the financial aid for underprivileged students. Dean Chen appeared extremely annoyed. This meant that his identity as an impoverished student would once again be known by those with malicious intentions. He didn't want to admit it, yet he brazenly accepted the monthly stipend of 1,000 yuan. Dean Chen's family used to be our neighbors. When we were in elementary school, he once promised to be my guardian angel and protect me. Both of us, one due to poverty, the other due to hearing impairment, were seen as outcasts. The children back then didn't fully understand what bullying was, but they instinctively hated and shunned us. We were isolated, we were bullied. Whenever someone tried to lay a hand on me, Dean Chen would stubbornly stand in front of me. "Don't bully little Manny." He had been beaten terribly. I had thought he would always be so brave. But in just a few short years, Dean Chen had become a completely different person. He began to lead the bullying against me, becoming the ringleader among the delinquents. He neglected his studies, seemingly content to just eat and wait for death. A weak person, when they become strong, the first person they bully is often the very friend with whom they shared hardships. I didn't want to believe it, so every day I would run to his house once, and that displeased this former close friend. "If there's a next time, Manny Lin, I'll beat you." I fled in panic. In high school, Dean Chen and I were in the same class. Currently, he needed money more than ever. His mother was a temporary worker at a construction site, earning only 80 yuan a day. Even without a single day off in a month, it was only about 2,000 yuan. By herself, she couldn't support a high school student. Under the pressure of life, Dean Chen's mother quickly couldn't bear it. "Little Ya, I heard your school has financial aid for impoverished students. Why don't you try applying?" She lay on the bed, weak and in pain from a dislocated back. Hearing this, Dean Chen immediately flared up in anger. "I don't want to. If I do, everyone will know my family is poor. They'll bully me." In elementary school, he had already been despised because of his poverty. Now, having to bow his head and ask for financial aid for his family was even more impossible, and so his mother came to me. "Little Manny, Little Ya saved you before, so could you please help your auntie out? Auntie is begging you." Her eyes were red-rimmed with grievance. I relented and agreed, but also brought upon myself Dean Chen's hatred. He locked me in a stinking public restroom, hid my hearing aid. "Manny Lin, do you really think you're some kind of saint descended from heaven? Don't interfere in my affairs anymore." I drowned in endless darkness, unable to hear, unable to see. I cried until my eyes were raw and my voice was hoarse. The putrid stench churned my stomach, making me retch. From that moment on, I swore to myself that I would never meddle in others' affairs again. Moreover, while Dean Chen might talk a good game about being noble-minded, I had never seen him miss out on the poverty aid for impoverished students. Even when he splurged, there was no hint of discomfort in his eyes. He didn't want others to know his true family situation, yet he openly accepted the school's financial assistance. Every time he received the money, Dean Chen would treat his close friends to lavish outings. The remaining funds he used to live a short, luxurious life. Just like that, little by little, his image as a wealthy young master, a big brother among his peers, was gradually cemented. In our class, there was another female student whose family circumstances were incredibly difficult. Both her parents had passed away, and Lucy Liu had been raised by her grandmother until today. Her meager existence, barely enough to keep her fed and warm, had left her incredibly self-conscious. In the noisy classroom, our homeroom teacher, Mr. Tan, knocked on the door and announced, "Lucy Liu, come to the office for a moment." Lucy Liu's face immediately flushed scarlet, and she hesitated before standing up. Several male students nearby maliciously jeered, Oh, the poor student is off to collect money again? 1,000 yuan is practically a fortune, isn't it? Treat us to a meal this afternoon." "Don't talk nonsense. She'll probably keep it all for herself." 1,000 yuan? Can she even spend all that? For an average high school student, 1,000 yuan was indeed a generous sum. But Lucy Liu's grandmother normally relied on arduous odd jobs, like pulling out nails from discarded materials for income. Pulling out 1 nail earned 5 fen, pulling out 10 nails earned 5 jiao, and they lived in the countryside. Electricity bills, water bills, transportation costs, school books, dormitory fees, food expenses. Not to mention, Lucy Liu's grandmother was ill and had to visit the hospital every month. With all these costs, there was almost nothing left over. Lucy Liu clenched her fists several times, but in the end, she resignedly lowered them. Her eyes red-rimmed, she finally ran out of the classroom. Kelly, too, turned around, angrily tossing a piece of trash in her hand at the male student who had spoken. "What nonsense are you talking? You shouldn't mock others. Their family is just financially struggling. It's not like they've committed murder or arson. By what right do you look down on them?" Her throw was so gentle it looked more like playful teasing. Kelly too's words earned sincere gratitude from the other female students. The male student smiled brightly, caught the trash, and ostentatiously sniffed it a few times. "The class beauty is right. Everyone stop laughing. Girls have delicate souls. Be careful not to hurt their fragile hearts." Kelly too blushed, puffing her cheeks in feigned annoyance. "I'm not talking to you guys anymore, you hateful boys." The male student lightly tugged her high ponytail, then turned to Dean Chen and said, "Brother Da, sister-in-law is angry. Quickly go coax her." Although Dean Chen had never said a word, these boys naturally considered Kelly too his girlfriend. After all, they had seen their brother Da personally pick up and drop off the class beauty from school before. Unexpectedly, Dean Chen said nothing. He merely sank into silent thought. The smile that had been on Kelly too's lips slowly faded. I knew exactly what he was thinking. He was thinking of how to avoid the crowd and secretly go collect the financial aid himself. But he wouldn't get his wish. Because I had coincidentally run into Lucy Liu outside, it just so happened that she was too afraid of Dean Chen to relay the teacher's message to him. So, I took on this glorious task. "Dean Chen, if you were truly noble-minded, then you would yield this poverty aid slot to those who truly need it." I lightly poked Dean Chen with a finger and said seriously, "The teacher said you need to come receive the poverty aid." Instantly, the previously noisy and bustling classroom became utterly silent. Everyone else lowered their heads, pretending not to hear anything, but in reality they were all listening with ears perked up. Upon hearing this, a hint of panic flashed in Dean Chen's eyes. He gritted his teeth and threatened, "Manny Lin, what did you say? Say that again!" Is this person mentally ill? I'm the one with hearing problems, not him. I intentionally repeated it again, enunciating each word clearly. "The teacher said you need to come to the office to receive poverty aid. Dean Chen, did you hear that clearly?" My response was a forceful rebuttal, as if it had nothing to do with him. Dean Chen's voice was cold. "I am not a poor student, Manny Lin. You've got the wrong person." Those around swallowed nervously, reluctantly interjecting. "That's right, you deafy! Brother Da is a rich young master. You can't hear, but you have eyes. Don't slander him indiscriminately here." Even Kelly, too, who always sided with the female students, looked at me in surprise. "Manny, you can't just call classmate Chen a poor student because he bullied you, can you? Don't you know how much psychological damage that can cause?" As if remembering something else, she added angrily, "Manny Lin, you're too much. Is it because classmate Chen took me home last time and not you, so you're angry?" Her tone was clearly a boast, as if to say, "See, he doesn't care about you at all." I took a deep breath. Good. Not a single person believed Dean Chen was a poor student, so I calmly said, "All right then, I must have misheard. In that case, this aid should be saved for those who truly need it." There were many other genuinely struggling families in the school, like Lucy Liu's, for example. If Dean Chen refused to accept it for the sake of his pride, others still needed it. With my added embellishments, the homeroom teacher was furious. Without another word, he decided to transfer the aid slot to another student in the class. Dean Chen was so enraged he wanted to spit blood, but he couldn't show it. Furthermore, thinking about the lavish treat he had promised for tonight, he suffered in unspeakable silence. The boastful words had already been spoken. Now it was just a matter of seeing how he would wriggle his way out of this situation. I hadn't expected Dean Chen to seek me out secretly. After all, we had just had a huge argument. Dean Chen snatched my bag, rummaged through it, and finally breathed a sigh of relief when he found a few hundred yuan. He stared at me coldly. "Manny Lin, it's all because you meddled. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lost the aid. Consider this money your compensation to me. After all, your family has plenty of money." With that, he threw my bag to the ground. The wallet containing my loose change was also tossed away. I was stunned. "Didn't you say you didn't want it? Now you're blaming me? You're a real master of pretense." The 3 words, "master of pretense," seemed to stab directly into his delicate, sensitive nerve. Dean Chen froze, his bloodshot eyes staring at me, like a beast that had locked onto its prey. "Manny Lin, say that again." I said, cough, cough. He choked me, roaring, "Manny Lin, you refuse the easy way, so you'll take the hard way." This time, he showed no mercy. I struggled to hit Dean Chen's arm, wanting him to let go. But he was determined to teach me an unforgettable lesson. Someone saw what was happening and rushed to pull him off. "Brother Da, stop, stop! She's just a deaf girl. It's normal for her not to hear names clearly. Don't mind her." Just as I teetered on the brink of unconsciousness, Dean Chen finally released me. I collapsed to the ground, gasping, struggling to catch my breath. After the crowd had offered some comfort, someone blurted out a joke, perhaps trying to ease the tense atmosphere. "Brother Dean, why do you always bully Manny Lin? Do you like her? Ha." That person probably just wanted to lighten the mood. But upon seeing Dean Chen's warning glare, they quickly ducked their head. No one dared to speak another word. Dean Chen felt a wave of disgust so strong it raised goosebumps on his arms. "Like Manny Lin, that deaf girl? Even if she were the last woman on earth, I would never like her." From the corner of the stairs, Kelly, too, who had been silently following, suddenly burst into tears. Dean Chen! Today, in front of everyone, you need to tell me clearly. Do you like Manny Lin? Why are you always involved with her?" Read more great stories at Yulu's novels. She was already very beautiful. Now, weeping like that, she only further tugged at people's heartstrings. Dean Chen didn't bother mocking me. Instead, he held her close, comforting her again and again. Familiar with such antics, I turned, intending to leave. But his other hand seized my wrist. "Manny Lin, today I must make this clear to you. I, Dean Chen, have never liked you. Not before, not now, and certainly not ever in the future. Please stop trying to ruin what we have." I froze, unable to stop myself from blurting out, "You lunatics!" Kelly, too, sobbed even louder. The next moment, as if to prove something, Dean Chen landed a powerful slap across my face. He put his full force into it. "Get lost. Don't you ever appear before us again." Dean Chen's slap landed squarely on the hearing aid in my left ear. That tiny device immediately captured his full attention. Immediately after, Dean Chen ripped off my hearing aid and stomped on it, crushing it under his foot. "Aren't you tired of wearing this fake thing every day?" To prevent others from damaging my hearing aid, sometimes I would wear a dummy one to throw people off. From the first time he confiscated my hearing aid, Dean Chen had learned this habit. He was convinced that today, too, I was only wearing a fake shell. His grand gesture drew endless cheers from the onlookers. But it wasn't fake. It was the latest model of hearing aid, worth 200,000 yuan. I deliberately didn't dodge, but the instant Dean Chen ripped off the hearing aid, my head reeled, and my ear and face throbbed with unbearable pain. A warm liquid streamed down my cheek. Blood poured from my ear, unstoppable, as if nothing could stem its flow. Everyone around me pointed frantically, then scattered and fled. My strength gave out, and I collapsed into unconsciousness right there. But that was exactly what I wanted. When I awoke, I was in the provincial hospital. My parents wept uncontrollably, asking if I could still hear. I didn't know what they were saying. I could only grip my fingers in confusion. Seeing this, the doctor concluded that my hearing was more severely damaged, necessitating surgical treatment. My father, hands trembling, wrote on a piece of paper for me, "Be good, child. If you feel uncomfortable, you must tell father." I closed my eyes, and tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. The school teachers came to visit me, bringing along everyone who had been present that day to apologize. One by one, they wept profusely and clasped my hand, continuously uttering words of sympathy. But regarding compensation or my health condition, not a single word was mentioned. Even Dean Chen's mother knelt before me, kowtowing repeatedly as if her life depended on it. But it was all just to beg for forgiveness for her son. "Little Manny, Auntie begs you, please don't call the police. Little Dean is still so young. What would happen if he went to jail?" She pointed to herself emotionally. "Why don't you take me instead? I'll give my life for you. I'll cut off my own ear and give it to you. Please, little Manny." Looking around, I didn't see the one who had caused all this. The tormentor who had turned my life into a living joke was nowhere to be seen. So, I asked, "Where is Dean Chen?" My gaze swept over everyone, and clear embarrassment flashed across their faces. On second thought, that made sense. How could he possibly think he was in the wrong? But if I didn't receive an apology from Dean Chen, I would resolutely stick to my stance. I would absolutely and definitively call the police. The teachers panicked. The male students also flustered. They pulled out their phones one after another, contacting the one who was hiding, but all calls went unanswered. The police found Dean Chen at a recycling junkyard. Beside him, Kelly too was absent. Someone questioned him, but he stubbornly refused to say anything. There was no other way. The police were forced to escort him to my hospital bed. We hadn't met for several days. Dean Chen had become disheveled, a shadow of his former self. He stubbornly held his head high. "Manny Lin, it's my fault. I apologize, okay? Please don't make my family pay compensation, all right? My mother is old, she can't earn money. I'm from a single-parent family, and I still have to go to school. I'm begging you." Then, he gritted his teeth as if resigned to his fate. "Don't you like me? I'll marry you later. I'm begging you. Forgive her. This has nothing to do with Kelly." He muttered repeatedly near my ear. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was just an accident." Of course, the most important thing was, he had no money. Dean Chen wasn't remorseful for hurting me. He was afraid of taking responsibility, afraid of paying that enormous sum in compensation. As expected, scum would always remain scum. He was finally remorseful, but what he regretted was merely having struck too hard. After a long absence, comments reappeared before my eyes. What's going on? How did this gradually shift from a wife-chasing story to a revenge story? Female lead, forgive the male lead, his mother is so pitiful. Get lost, you just called the female lead cheap, and now you want her to be a saint mother? I suggest sending everyone who feels pity for the male lead to become the female lead themselves. Agreed. This revenge story is so satisfying. She's already been hurt by the male lead's violence. What's left to love? Forgiving him like this, isn't that just Stockholm Syndrome? Support the female lead. The comments scrolled by rapidly. My parents ignored Dean Chen. They shoved and pushed him away. Seeing the situation escalate, I quickly told them to stop, saying slowly, word by word, "Whether you apologize or not doesn't matter, but compensation is a must. 200,000, not a single cent less. and I will sue Dean Chen for the long-term psychological abuse he inflicted on me at school. His meager apology was too cheap. It only served to insult his ego. What I wanted was to ensure he could never rise again. Read more great stories at Yulu's novels. Dean Chen was the mastermind behind my harm. The others merely failed to stop him. Thus, Dean Chen was charged with intentional assault and imprisoned, serving a 5-year sentence. 5 years later, I had also graduated from college. As for Kelly Tu's whereabouts, he stubbornly refused to say another word. When I visited him, Dean Chen bowed his head, not daring to look me in the eye. It didn't matter. I took out my phone and played a video of Kelly Tu. In the video, she wore a sexy short dress, dancing wildly in a bar. Occasionally, Kelly Tu even blew air kisses to a few men. The more he watched, the worse Dean Chen's complexion became. Fake! It must be fake! He furiously pounded on the glass of the cell, trying to snatch my phone. Unfortunately, he was trapped inside. He couldn't touch me. I zoomed in on frame after frame of Kelly Tu's intimate moments with other men. Dean Chen, did you really think that by giving her all your money she would be grateful to you? Then, I played an audio recording. It was Kelly Tu's voice. Who would like him? If he weren't the boss of those thugs, rich and handsome, I wouldn't have bothered with him. Who knew his rich kid status was fake, and he even got caught for a crime? Someone hesitantly advised her. But he only did it to prove himself to you. Kelly Tu burst out laughing. Prove what? Don't make me laugh. He clearly just wanted to bully Manny Lin. Don't drag me into this. 200,000 yuan. Good thing he managed to steal 20,000 from his home, otherwise I wouldn't even know where to get money to go out and have fun. Upon hearing this, veins bulged on Dean Chen's face, and he roared, demanding to tear that rotten woman to shreds. 20,000 yuan. It was his mother's entire life savings, everything they had painstakingly saved for a long time. I shook my head and continued to show him Dean Chen's mother's current state. 200,000 yuan. It wasn't a huge sum, nor was it insignificant. With a monthly salary of 3,000 yuan, that's 36,000 yuan a year. It would take 6 years of not eating or drinking to save up that much. But 6 years was too long, even longer than the time her son would spend in prison. She couldn't wait. So day after day, she took on odd jobs, even hauling cement at construction sites. Eventually, her frail body couldn't endure it anymore. A large wooden beam fell on her, breaking her back. She had been bedridden ever since, and she would never stand again. Dean Chen completely lost his mind, each punch striking the glass in front of him with full force. It's all your fault! All of it, Manny Lin, I'll never forgive you! He poured almost all his strength into it. His knuckles were bleeding. Drip by drip it fell. On the floor, streaks of blood bloomed like vibrant flowers. Why was no one saying they liked his stubbornness now? Probably because it was too terrifying. I thought so too. All right, the dog was down, and I had kicked it enough. It was time to go back and prepare for my surgery. I was deaf, but only pretending. Dean Chen's slap had indeed damaged my hearing, but it hadn't completely destroyed it. To be safe after I recovered, I had already moved my hearing aid from my left ear to my right. The one in my left ear was never used, from beginning to end. If you wanted to completely erase someone's existence, you had to make their actions so grand that no one could ignore them. Dean Chen had crushed, obliterated my hearing aid, bullied me, and humiliated me. These were all undeniable facts. Initially, I hadn't intended to care for Dean Chen's mother, but on second thought, if he truly sought revenge after being released from prison, I wouldn't be able to defend myself. Besides, when I was injured as a child, she was the only one who ever put medicine on my wounds. I sighed and found someone to care for her for 5 years. As I left, she cried and clung to me, remorsefully saying, "Little Manny, how wonderful it would be if you were my daughter-in-law." Wonderful? So then the money wouldn't need to be repaid, right? I quickly pulled her hand away, decisively severing all ties with Dean Chen. Auntie, please take care of yourself from now on. I have never liked Dean Chen. Not before, not now, and not ever. 5 years later, I graduated from university and started working at my father's company. I had no further contact with Dean Chen, who had just been released from prison, or Kelly Tu, who spent her days wallowing in bars. I only heard that one night, Kelly too got drunk and was ambushed, breaking her leg. Her sugar daddy was furious and sent her back to where she came from. Dean Chen's mother, left without care, soon fell gravely ill and passed away. For a moment, I felt a lingering pang of sorrow. My hearing had also improved significantly, though sometimes I still couldn't distinguish between noise and human speech. Those malicious comments seemed to have vanished because of my actions. Sometimes, in my midnight dreams, I would hear a voice sending blessings. Live well and walk the path you wish to walk. How wonderful. I was lucky. I was already walking that path. Doctors from a leading medical institution, upon learning of my condition, formulated a series of rehabilitation plans. If followed diligently, the chances of a full recovery were very high. I nodded, tears welling in my eyes. From now on, I would no longer be seen as different or disabled in others' eyes. How wonderful. And I wouldn't have to share a bed with someone who had once bullied me. Even better. Dean Chen's side story. Part 1. I shouldn't have spoken to her like that. But recently, Manny Lin had become very disobedient. I didn't know why. I really wanted to ask her, but the way she looked at me was like she was looking at a stranger. Yet before, she had been so dependent on me. She had never gotten angry with me, never said a single harsh word. Then Manny Lin suddenly told me, "Dean Chen, I will never like someone who bullies me." She said it with such certainty. I was startled. The girl who cried and looked as adorable as a little rabbit said she hated me. Why? I had gotten her attention. We were clearly childhood sweethearts, so why did she always look down on me? When she helped me, I was truly happy. But when my younger brothers found out, they all simultaneously felt indignant on my behalf. There was no other way. I could only punish her a little. On TV, in school dramas, didn't they all say that? Girls often liked the people who bullied them. I thought so too. After all, I bullied her because I cared about her. She must have understood that, right? Someone joked that I liked Manny. Liked her? Yes, I did. But how could I let others know? A girl with no redeeming qualities, and deaf on top of that. So, I slapped her. Dean Chen's side story. Part 2. I had a very long dream. In the dream, Manny liked me. I was enthralled, bullying her day after day, making her transfer schools. From then on, my life was without her. Only then did a slow-witted person like me realize. I liked her. I, Dean Chen, liked Manny Lin, and she, just as I wished, became my wife. But Manny's mind seemed to no longer be sound. It didn't matter. I wouldn't scorn her. I would spend my entire life healing her. The dream ended. After my release from prison, I went looking for her. Manny flatly denied. What past lives and present lives? Are you insane? What relationship do we have? Of course, it's only that of a creditor and debtor. 200,000, please pay me back quickly. My mother is gone, but it doesn't matter. I'll inherit Manny Lin's father's company and become a billionaire. Manny, where are you? Give me back the good life I was supposed to have. Dean Chen, like a soulless corpse, walked alone down the road. He had no home, no parents left, becoming truly solitary. A few days later, a frozen male body was discovered under a bridge, drawing everyone's attention. He had no fixed abode, no relatives, utterly alone, lost in the most beautiful dream.